Hey, in this video I'm going to be racking these balls in order, so this way if I tell you to keep an eye on a certain ball, you'll know exactly where in the rack to look. So we have the 1 up top, and then the 2 and the 3 in the second row, the 4 and the 5 in the middle row, the 6 and the 7 in the back row, and then the 8 on the end with the 9 ball in the middle. This would not be a legal rack in most tournaments. The 2 ball would be in the back of the rack in most tournaments, and that would be mandatory. And the 1 would be up front, the 9 would be in the middle, and the rest of the balls would just be randomly put into the rack. As I've gone over in the break series, if we're breaking from the left-hand side of the top of the table, we're looking for that wing ball on the left side to go straight in the pocket. We're looking for the 1 ball to go up table and down in the top right-hand corner pocket, somewhere in this area here. And we're looking for the cue ball to get to center of the table by either bouncing off the rack or bouncing off the side rail. In this case, it would be the left-hand side rail to come out to center table. So that's 3 main things you're trying to do with 1 shot, and that's the break. And that would seem like enough for now, but it's not. We're going to push it, and we're going to take a good look at what all the rest of these balls in the rack are doing. Now let's take a real good look at the 2 ball on the break and see and pay strict attention to the path of the 2 ball. Try to forget all other balls and just keep your eye on the 2 ball. Note how quickly it came off the rack and almost went in that side pocket. It went a little bit long of the side pocket. That will be the second most made ball on a 9 ball break. Whatever ball is in position where that 2 ball was racked in this rack. And that's because that side pocket is very often in the path of that 2 ball. But there's problems with it, and I'm going to show you those problems as we go along further into dissecting the 9 ball break. And here it's slightly off camera, but you can see it kind of manipulating itself around all those obstacle balls, and it did fall into the side pocket. So now you know the common path of 3 of the object balls plus the cue ball on the 9 ball break. This is your goal. It's not always going to happen, and I'll show you why, but this is what you want. Because now you have a simple shot to get started, the balls are spread out, and you're suddenly playing 7 ball, not 9 ball. And the game just gets super easy. Now that we know the goal for the 2 ball, let's go take a look at the 3 ball, or whatever ball gets racked in the position of this 3 ball. There's not a whole lot to say about the 3 ball. It doesn't do much of anything, or whatever ball is racked in this 3 ball position. If you're breaking from the left side of the table, the ball really does not do much. It's the last ball to come off the rack. And this is because there's almost no energy transferring from the cue ball to the 3 ball. I mean, it just barely trickles off the rack, and you'll be lucky if it makes it to that left-hand side rail. So it's going in a mirrored angle as the 2 ball, but the 2 ball is coming off the rack fast enough to bounce off the rail, and there's a possibility of making it in the side. That's not the deal with the 3 ball. The 3 ball just barely trickles off the rack. So if everything goes perfect, this is what you have to this point. So now we're going to move on and take a good look at what the 4 ball is doing. And this is the other wing ball, the wing ball on the opposite side that you're breaking. And this is the arch enemy of all 9-ball players. This is the biggest cause of trouble for every 9-ball break in the history of 9-ball. This is the culprit. This is the one to blame. This one little ball in this one little position has caused more nightmares than anything else in the world of 9-ball. Now, if we go to the still shot, we can see that the 4-ball is coming off the rack very, very fast. It's the first ball to come off the rack, and it's the fastest ball. And the problem with both of those things is it's going to come up short of that corner pocket, and it's going to hit this position on the long round. The problem from there is in the path that 4-ball is insisting on taking, and it wants to do this. But here's what we have. We have the 6-ball coming down to the bottom rail. We have the 7-ball coming down to the bottom rail. And we have the 8-ball coming down to the bottom rail at the same time. And then we have this 3-ball just sitting there. So if the 4-ball makes it by those first 3 balls, the 6, the 7, and the 8, there's a really good chance it's going to collide with the 3-ball. And if it miraculously makes it past all of that, the cue ball is sitting right there in the way. And if you didn't park the cue ball directly in the center of the table, there's a good chance it's going to hit the cue ball, which has a good chance of putting you in a horrible position to shoot the 1, or even worse, scratching. Now, if anyone remembers the era of the Corey Deuels soft break, and then everybody started doing it, I believe this whatever ball is parked in that wing ball position on the opposite side of where the breaker is breaking from. This is what started the whole mess. Corey was trying to figure out what to do with that wing ball to keep it from interfering with all the other balls on the table. So he finally figured out, well, the only logical answer here is just to soft break so it doesn't take that path at all. And we can just park it right there by the right-hand corner pocket and everything will be good. And from there, he just evolved that system into soft breaking and running out and running out and running out and running out. So they had to change the rules to keep that from happening. So now with all that said, if you're expecting to see in this video how to avoid this mess and how to time this rack or steer that 4-ball away from all those potential obstructions, you're expecting too much. There isn't a way to do that and comply with today's rules of 3 balls over the head string. There's just no possible way to do that. If there was, then the game would be mastered, everybody would be doing it, and things would get real boring real fast. It's just we do the best we can with what we can control, and we accept what we can't. I know that sounds like a cliche and all that crap, but it's true. We have to deal with this, and we take what we can get while doing the best we can with everything else. There isn't a way, so you just have to live with what the table's going to give you and just accept what you have no control over, and that's that 4-ball. So now let's move on to the 5. And if you watched part 1 of this break series, then you know we can dial in that 5 and get it shooting straight into that bottom left-hand corner pocket. So there's not much to say about it. It's the second fastest ball moving off the rack. And hopefully you've got it dialed in to where you can make it on every single break. How to find that break spot and how to find the speed of that break is all explained in part 1 of this break series. So now with that, let's move on to the 6-ball. And we can see in the still shot that the 6-ball is actually physically still on the template, and it's the second slowest moving ball coming off this rack, a whole lot like that 3-ball. And if we go to a graphic, we can see that this is the path that the 6-ball wants to take if it doesn't get hit by the 4. If the 4-ball makes it by the 6-ball, this is roughly where the 6-ball will end up. And if we go to the 7-ball, we can see it's the exact same path on the other side, except the 7-ball might go a little bit further up table because it's picking up more energy from the break and from the cue ball. And again, this is assuming that it doesn't collide with anything else on the table. And now we take a look at the 8 ball, and usually this, in a legal rack, this is usually the 2 ball. And the reason they put it in the back of the rack is because it has the highest chance of any ball on the table of colliding with another ball. It wants to come off the rack at a little bit of an angle. Sometimes it goes straight down, but we'll get more into that in a minute. It wants to go to the left of the rack just a hair and shoot straight back up table in this path, but there are so many obstacles in this ball's way that it's almost impossible for that to happen. And that's why they put it at the back of the rack. If it didn't have any obstacles, then you could shoot, straight back up table and be on the same side of the table as the 1 ball. Then you have the 1 and 2 up table, and the game suddenly gets super, super easy. As for the 9 ball, it shouldn't move. If you hit the rack solid, the 9 ball will not move. But occasionally you're going to be able to straighten out that 8 ball or whatever's in that 8 ball position, which is supposed to be the 2 ball. And it's going to come up directly center of the bottom rail and come straight back and hit the 9 ball, so you will have a chance of making a 9 ball on the break. It's been happening a lot to me lately, but I think it's just a matter of luck because I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to get that 2 ball back up table on the same side of the 1. And of course, that's not working out very good either, but I keep on trying. This is part 4 of this break series. All parts will be listed in the description. Thank you for coming by, and we're going to give you a decent outro here.